No intention to stay here in Australia.
No plan B.
No. He always wanted to kill someone. Just amazing, determined young man. I didn't have to do much for him. His dad had already done it with him. He went storming back in. I went, oh, God, what's going to happen here?
You've had a lot of great guys come through the CDR program, from Troy Carroll, Daryl King, Josh Coppins, Jay Marmont, some of the names that come to mind, but there's obviously one very special one who went on to absolute greatness on a world stage, and that's Chad Reed. So talk about that whole experience with Chad, not necessarily the YOT, because we'll get into that afterwards, but, seeing him domestically in Australia when he first caught your eye, and I guess talking about him, just in the terms that you spoke about, what sort of rider he was, whether it was that adulation or, the relief sort of thing.
He definitely wasn't adulation. He was just a determined young man that had a vision to get overseas. He had a plan in his head from a young age. His father, he came to me the year before Chad went away overseas, and he said, Dacka, I'm going to put my son with you. I trust you. It's not about the money, but I just need the best for him right now at that period. I forget what year it was, but he was with us that 1 year, and just amazing, determined young man. I didn't have to do much for him. His dad had already done it with him. My main thing with Chad was just managing him sensibly, because he had a hot head. He always wanted to kill someone or abuse an official, or his helmet was brand new. Just got a bunch of helmets painted. It was brand new. And he come in from this heat race, which he crashed and stuffed it up. And he went storming back in. I went, oh, God. So I ran down behind and go, what's going to happen here? He took his helmet off, and he was just about to throw it into the truck, and I just grabbed his hand before he threw it. I said, Chad, don't throw the helmet, mate. It's a pain in the ass getting these helmets. Go and smash that car window or something. Do anything, but don't throw the helmet. I've just got them painted. They cost me a fortune. So that settled it down. But we worked good together. He was hard. He was hard because he was hard to manage, because when I say hard, that's not the right word. It was complex because he was so driven. He was in front of me. I didn't have to do. I was more trying to, tame the beast without taking too much away. He lived a very basic life and didn't want much. Wasn't very materialistic at all. And he come up to me, because we used to have to wear, I was a stickler for the right uniforms and all that.
Still are.
And he came up to me at this one race, and he goes, it was summertime, and he goes, Dacka, do you reckon can I not wear shoes? I'd rather just come to the race without shoes on, just bare feet. And I went, mate, I feel your pain. I get it, if that's what rocks your boat, but I don't reckon I can let you do that. So he's adamant to go to America. And I believe he had an offer from a little team over there, which was called Planet Honda, I think it was. And they didn't have a very good reputation. They weren't even a Honda support level. They were third tier. And then he had an offer to go to factory Kawasaki in Europe to do Grand Prix, full factory Kawasaki. And that wasn't what he wanted. That wasn't his plan in his head to do that. But I sat down with him and I said, Chad, my honest opinion is, number one thing you need to get to back then, because factory bikes were a big difference then. They were hand-built, proper things. The bikes now aren't factory bikes. The bikes that Tomac and, Hunter Lawrence and all the Lawrences run and all that, they're in essence, they're called factory bikes, but it's so production, you got no idea.
Yeah.
Back then, factory teams had factory bikes, and they were a big step. And I said, Chad, that's the biggest thing is get with a factory team. So if you get with Kawasaki and get in a factory team, and you might have to suck it up for a year and do Grand Prix, which he ended up finished second in the World Championship that year, then once you're in, you're in. You're in. You made the upper. And then you can go from there. You'll put yourself on the world stage. And he did that. And that's how he went that well over there for a factory team and finished second in the World Championship. He was a new kid on the block globally.
Yeah.
So then he was then poached to go to America, and that's how it all started.
When he first came to you as a part of the CDR program, was his mind set on what he wanted to do and achieve?
Yeah, he had no intention to stay here in Australia.
No plan B?
No. We were just, I think we were just, and his dad like I said, I think that's what his dad basically said to me. You're the last step in the ladder to his next leap into Europe.
But it wasn't necessarily driven by Mark.
I think so. I mean, I can't really remember what the driving force there, whether that was fed into him as a kid.
Uh-huh.
Quite often he said he had a dream. You know, I hear him say that a lot. And he had a dream, and I guess he used to watch, his hero was Jeremy McGrath.
Uh-huh.
And so I think he would have watched him as a kid, and that's something, he got starstruck by him or what he was doing or where he was doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he said, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
And that's what he inevitably did. Him and his girlfriend, his childhood sweetheart, school day sweetheart, Ellie, and him took off with a suitcase each out of Australia to Europe, and off they went.